Hello, and thank you for joining us on Hello, Mayor. I'm City of Las Vegas Mayor Carolyn Goodman. Today's guest is a spiritual leader in our community. He's an ordained deacon in the Diocese of the Las Vegas area. He's also president and CEO of Catholic Charities. Prior to this, our guest spent more than 27 years in the private sector. He held numerous executive management roles in the hospitality industry. And he's a talented man with so many layers, and I love him to death. So it's been a long time, and welcome, Deacon Tom Roberts.
Thank you, Mayor.
Glad to have you.
It is
and
always
I must
a treat.
share, too, that he had been hit by COVID. Unfortunately, he's on the road, heavy recovery.
Yeah. Thank
but
you.
A tough time.
It has been a privilege to serve alongside of you at Catholic Charities. The support that the city gives us is so important. We couldn't do what we do without the city, and your personal commitment to the work that we do and the people that we serve. I'm humbled by it.
Well, thank you, Deacon, and I must ask you just briefly, you did work in the hospitality industry here in Las Vegas all those years. What skills came out of that you've taken back into the church and into our community?
I was very blessed to come here when I was a young guy to be the founding general manager of the Forum Shops at Caesars. Had a chance to be a part of the early days of the Rio when the Rio was just growing.
Wow.
And then when the Rio was acquired then by Harrah's, Karen and I moved our young family to Louisiana for a few years to help grow the riverboat division of the company, and then came back to Las Vegas to work for the Fertitta family for the UFC and First Station Casino. So I think God's sense of humor by having me do my work, perhaps bringing a little bit of focus on outcomes and resources, but quality and efficiency. The organizations that I worked for that have been a fabric of this community for so long have always focused on quality. And so it's important to me that our work at Catholic Charities is both efficient and quality, because the dignity and compassion that we serve is where the hope comes from.
Well, and certainly you're so well trained in so many areas to have done that. But I think the beauty of you, of course, is your soul, and what a calm person you are. Of course, I don't live with you. I know my own calm individual. But Catholic Charities of Southern Nevada is 83 years old, so starting in 1941. What are the few things that are still retained by Catholic Charities?
The first program was the adoptions program.
Oh.
And it was formed by a group of lay people that at the time went to Reno, because that's where the diocese was located when Reno was a lot bigger than Las Vegas. And over the years, the agency has grown as the community has grown. And we're now up to 16 programs and services. Our main campus in downtown Las Vegas, across from the courtyard, is 7 acres. And so it's a bit of a one-stop shop for many of our programs, because we serve 3,000 to 4,000 people a day. So as the city has grown, the needs have grown, and we've grown alongside of it.
So you have, therefore, that's a St. Vincent dining facility that Ernst Lead helped refurbish. Is it in pretty good condition still, thinking these years, or does that need some look going forward?
The Lead Family Foundation gave us that seed gift to create that dining room. And even to this day, Christina Hickson still is in touch with me at the holidays and supports us. So what a wonderful legacy she's left for that family. We renovated the dining room a couple of years ago. Right before COVID started, we had raised some private money, and it's gotten a full refresh because it does run every single day of the year, and it runs capacity. So our ability to raise private funding as well as public donating, we've been able to grow that agency's resource and really make sure the dining room meets the needs of the people that we're serving.
And you're serving, I know you have partners. We have the Salvation Army. Catholic Charities at that locale does the breakfast, which is from what hours to what hours?
So we serve a meal, we do a breakfast meal for anyone that has a part of the EBT program. Many of the gentlemen that are in our recovery and work programs can use those funds to buy breakfast, but we do our free meal every day called the community meal at 10 a.m. and that's open for anyone that needs it. That's 10 o'clock. The Salvation Army runs a meal shortly after lunch, and then the rescue mission has a later meal in the afternoon. So we work together to time those meals so that folks, depending on where they're located or what might be more convenient for them, to hit one or more of those meals throughout the day.
Now, it's only the Catholic Charities piece that has the food pantry as well, correct? Which, a brief little comment, what's in the food pantry? An ability for people to come in and pick up groceries, whatever, at a cost or no cost?
Free, as everything is at Catholic Charities. 150 families a day on average. These are working families, people that simply are not making enough, especially in the last few years where we've seen the increase of inflation and price increases. Those increases have created a situation where without some additional gap support, they wouldn't be able to feed their families. And so it's mostly families that are coming in Monday through Friday. They can come once a month, every 30 days, and they're walking out with about 50 pounds of food when they leave. So not only is it a worthwhile visit for them to come, they're getting a good quality product, and they're getting proteins and vegetables and all types of balanced items that they can use to feed their families. And so that pantry is also a public-private partnership, donations that come in that people want to earmark for the pantry or the community meal, and supplemented by government funding that we apply for.
Well, and when you think of, I mean, every single individual that has a home issue of some sort, you think of how each little piece has another need. 50 pounds of food, if you're alone coming into the pantry, how are you going to get that back to your apartment or wherever you do have housing? I mean, there's just so much going on, and the volunteer effort is so relied upon, and the funding is so relied upon. It's so very important. I know you had mentioned to me many times before, beyond Salvation Army and the mission, that the rescue mission, you have partners out there, and I know you work very well with so many of them, to say nothing. Are we getting food from the hotels as well?
The resort industry have always been strong partners of ours. A big part of the employment that is volunteers. They're employers that come and volunteer with us. They give of their stewardship, their time and their talents and their treasures. And they get to see the work that we're doing for themselves, because I believe that everybody that calls Las Vegas home, as you and I do, need to see a place like Catholic Charities to know that it exists for some of the most vulnerable in our community. We do a lot of work with all the resort partners, certainly the other social service agencies that you mentioned, even some of the local faith-based organizations like the Jesus Christ Church of Latter-day Saints. They're very supportive in giving us food for the pantry. So what's great about it is we focus on our core competencies. We're good at delivering food, the Meals on Wheels program, the community meal, and then we partner with other organizations to do what they do well. So as a business person, I'm trying to keep our agency focused on outcomes and results and things that we do well, and then collaborate with others on what they do well.
Well, and I know from how you operate in the kitchens and the preparation of what you have on your seniors' Meals on Wheels. Let's concentrate on that, because when I took office in 11, the first thing I did was call upon all the senior executives of the social services to meet, and where can we share, finding out that one was paying like 3 times per meal for what you were able to do it, and you got together collaboratively and made it just a common community area where you can do better. Tell us about these seniors' Meals on Wheels. I know I've delivered with you, but I'd really like to concentrate on that.
The CEO Exchange that you referenced is another collaboration with all the major larger not-for-profits, folks like Legal Aid of Southern Nevada, that work with us to provide the resources that they share. The Meals on Wheels program is a flagship for us, because as our community has grown, and as I drove down Main Street this morning coming here and seeing the growth of Main Street and the growth of our city, there is a segment of our city that's growing as well that have social service needs. And Meals on Wheels is a big one. 11 years ago, when you started office, we were serving about 700 meals. Today, we serve over 2,300 meals a day. And we have 1,000 seniors on a waiting list for food.
My.
So the good news for us is that we have been able to grow. public-private partnerships. People can donate money and earmark it directly from Meals on Wheels because Catholic Charities is the operator of that program. And we also get great government funding from the federal, state. This past legislative session, the governor and the state legislature gave us some money. But that's a program that is going to continue to grow and need to grow so people can stay in their homes with dignity and compassion for as long as they can.
So your delivery area is just pretty much concentrated in the heart of older Las Vegas, or are you delivering? Where are you delivering?
We cover all of Clark County up into the edge of the urban areas, all of the city of Las Vegas. Henderson has their own small program in Boulder City. We cover the rest of Southern Nevada, and it is a program that people get high quality food. They get a protein, a vegetable, a carbohydrate. The driver goes into the home, and as you and I have done before, delivers that meal directly into the refrigerator or freezer because the driver does a wellness check. And as you know, it's so important that sometimes those seniors are isolated. We even give them free pet food. So many of the seniors, when I started, were sharing their food with their pets. And went out in my car and I cried and said, you can't have this. And so we get free donated pet food. And you might imagine the senior is excited about the pet food.
More than themselves.
For themselves. And so that's the holistic, beautiful gift of Meals on Wheels, that we need to grow more people because more people need it.
And I'm thinking, too, we need to get a hold of the shelters for training pets to become a pet friend to our seniors. We need another program now, not that you aren't doing everything you can. Tell us, I mean, having been on those rides, I know quite often, I think only a couple of times were they men. Sometimes they were couples, but the lion's share were women. What happens to the different age groups that come into Catholic Charities? Do you, one, have any ability, are you doing any type of work training if they come into the center?
So the average age for Meals on Wheels is 74. And it's about 55% women and about 45% men. And the ethnicity is all across the board. It's as diverse as Southern Nevada is because people have either retired here or moved here. One of their spouses will pass away, they get older, they get sick. Price increases create barriers for them to get food. So that program needs to continue to grow because the community is growing. It's recovered so beautifully thanks to your leadership and others to make the community come back. Meals on Wheels is a big one. We do have a work program for men. We call it Renewing Hope. Okay. And we want to get gentlemen that the shelter is designed to house to get them stabilized and find out what got them homeless, and then try to work with other collaborating partners for mental and behavioral health. Stabilize them, get them jobs. We know we can get them jobs once they're stabilized, and then get them back on their own 2 feet for themselves. We've had great success for that. We work with the Shade Tree and Salvation Army when we have families and women that have those needs. So that's another program that I think needs to grow. If we can get people housing with mental and behavioral health, I think that's the key. That identifies what happened along the way that got them perhaps homeless, and we address that issue in the housing situation so that we can get them stabilized and back into the society.
So while we're teaching in the schools so heavily on STEM, you see the great need, huge growing need for social service personnel, people who are just caring and really want to work with someone. I see the growing need here because we have so many coming in from California. Certainly our unhoused population is growing. What do you think about replicating what you have developed in the heart way down there on Foremaster? In other areas of Southern Nevada? I mean, the need's so great, you can't get first of all, there's not enough room, there's not enough facility, and there's no appetite to have an enormity of unhoused because there's so many reasons, you know. How can we replicate what you're doing in quadrants, just for argument's sake?
You have helped raise Las Vegas and Southern Nevada. You and your husband been here for so long. You've seen how the population has spread. So we need to have those hub and spoke locations
Yes.
in other parts of the valley that would include some stabilized housing. Again, I think that's the key, is not just built, we don't need more shelter beds, we need more resources of permanent supportive housing with mental health resources behind it. So I would build some housing apartments with a clinic in the first floor with mental behavioral health resources. Now you've been able to address in that site what's causing often and what they're needing to get back into recovery. So I would look at locating some of those resources around the valley. You're aware that in this last session, AB 528 created an infrastructure to try to create more of those resources. We want to be a part and a partner with the city, the county, and the state to make sure that we can be holistic and thoughtful about bolstering what we have, but as you said, locating it in other parts of the valley and doing it with quality. So that people that live in those neighborhoods know that there's a real emphasis on high quality projects with treatment resources so that people don't have to worry about saying, well, I don't want it in my backyard. I think it's great.
That's very important.
So I think it's important that when we're thoughtful about designing and building these assets, that they're done with quality and security in mind so that people that are going there for resources get the help that they need. And the neighborhood also feels good about knowing that some of the people that they see when they leave work and they're coming home and they're on their sidewalks and in their street corners, those people are going to get the help that they need, because nobody wants to see that in their neighborhood. It breaks my heart, as I know it does yours, when we see people, and we know that mental illness is a thread between that. If we can address that with housing in these secular areas around the city, we can do it. If there is a city in the world, and my blessing to be gracing my kids here, this city can do it. We're doing it, but we could do more.
Well, and two, everything that we're doing seems to be 10, 20 years out. We're talking about it. Let's have another meeting. The fact is, Catholic Charities, Salvation Army, the triumvirate there with the city, we have moved giant leaps ahead. And so there is a model. I wish we could just go about identifying areas, and certainly, hopefully, because of the food pantry and because of St. Vincent's and because of Meals on Wheels, that there is a plan that you could say, here's the plan from Catholic Charities. This is about how our kitchen operates. This is about how we access food. Here is that piece. So then we can go out and talk with leadership and say, put it here, put it there, put it here. So we have 4 areas, because I don't know what your thoughts are, but do you see us continuing to grow as far as the unhoused?
We have been.
Well, just your numbers
right.
this morning.
And you know from looking at the census that we do every year, the homeless census, it's growing every year. People are self-identifying that mental illness is a big driver behind their illness. As a business guy, you know, I'm focused on the both and. It has to be efficient and focused on quality outcomes, and it has to be dignified and compassionate. Our overhead as an agency is 9%. So 91 cents of every government or private dollar that we get is going into resources. And my team are the ones that I'm so proud of. They're the ones that are doing the work, the 300 team members of Catholic Charities. I try to be a good band leader and make sure we're all singing on the same page of music, but they're the ones that are stepping into the tornado every day with clients. Everyone that comes to us is coming in duress. Our team member steps into that tornado with them, and they trust us. And that's a big factor, because they know that we only have a reason to be there to help them. And that's where the hope comes in. I believe we can replicate that model in other parts of the valley, as we've done at Catholic Charities, to continue to touch people so that they'll come and then they'll come back.
That's what we want.
And then we'll get a chance to peel the onion back to figure out what do we need to do to get to the heart of the matter. And that's where I think those mental behavioral health resources with housing create a real model of success for those chronically homeless folks.
But they need a touchstone every day that you have counseled me and helped me get started. Well, tomorrow, who's following up with me? who is telling me, I mean, and these are broken individuals at this point, and they need a constant follow-up. So it goes back to, while STEM is much needed in the study of it, we need the people that want to work with people and are prepared to work one-on-one and stay with it, which is very traumatic. It is very difficult because you become attached to their success and their little small successes. So I know this is an undertaking. I'm just hopeful we can go ahead and replicate the pieces that we already have and get started. Don't push it off another 10 years. I don't know when you're looking to retire. You certainly put in your time. I know I'm certainly going to be out either by June or December this year, and really want to see at least identification of places so that what's been created isn't lost and into these ethereal designs of things for 10, 15 years out. The issues right now.
We have humbly and respectfully taken the Meals on Wheels program on steroids and grown it in the last 10 years from 750 to 2,200. So we know how to run these programs, and with my background in the resort industry, tried to apply some of those skill sets, hiring people from the industry, that we can create that level of volume with quality. Again, I keep saying that because the senior has to know that we taste every bit of food that goes out. I do taste tests like when I would open a restaurant in a hotel casino. We do taste testing for all of our meals. Our team members care about the people that they're serving because they are all God's children. I like to say that we don't check religious ID cards at Catholic Charities, right? Everybody's welcome. And that's the beauty of it. That's why these collaborations with faith-based organizations and others are all focused on the human need. It's not about religion, frankly, or politics. It's about humanity. And that's where I think if we can stay focused on that, that's where the success will come, because clients know that they can depend on us for sustainability, and that's what will bring them hope to come back again and again.
Well, to me, the key is a timeline. We have to put this on a timeline. What will we tolerate only achieving by such and such a date? What can we do next? I mean, when I keep going back to the seniors I visited with you and those little puppies, those dogs, that are their family. They have become their family. I know we can move into these shelters. You cannot take many of the animals that are in the shelters because they've been abused and they may react badly. But if we could get a program, at least for some, we can get a program started for companion in our animal world to some of these seniors. Yeah. But I look to how frequently your meals are delivered to such a large group. What is the cost of one of those vehicles with all its little compartments? How'd you get them?
The good news is the total cost for the meal, which includes the food, the preparation, the transportation, is about $9. So when I had a chance to sit with the legislature and Governor Lombardo this past session, I said, you know, it costs a lot more than $9 to put somebody into assisted living for the day. So it's an efficient, effective way to use private and public dollars to keep people in their homes with dignity and compassion, to help take care of their pets, to do a wellness check, to give them hope to know that they don't have to worry about where their food's coming in tomorrow or the next day because prices went up at the grocery store, and now they have to decide, do I pay my rent? Can I afford my medicine? Or do I have to cut back on my food? No one in this city, where there's more food consumed than any other place in the world per capita, no one should go hungry here. So that's a program that I'm proud of because we're the operator. It's not Catholic Charities dollars, it's dollars that we're giving that are donated dollars attached to government money that is funding this program. So those trucks are about $75,000 a piece because they have refrigerated compartments.
How many do you have?
17.
17 at 75,000.
Yeah.
I mean, it would be neat for each hotel to have their name on their truck delivering, or anybody else who might have the resources to buy a truck.
Yeah.
And I just, when I look, and having ridden in them, to say nothing of the upkeep, the insurance on it, the tires, the repairs, the gas or electric charge, the driver cost. And so when you looked at, these are things that if we can put a number to, we can do something about. Because when you see these seniors, and we're all going to be, I am a senior. Fortunately, I am not without support. But the reality is you all become seniors. I don't care what your age is. So how wonderful to have this service. So that's only one thing.
Yeah.
Talk about, but keep it close. Don't go out 20 years on me, because I'm not going to be here in 20 years. Talk about the next 5, 6, 10 years. What do you see with this growing population, and what do you see you can be doing from Catholic Charities of Southern Nevada?
Well, we have this wonderful gift of expansion and growth in this community. F1, the new properties locating downtown, the Fontainebleau, the Super Bowl, the A's. There's all these wonderful assets coming into the city, and there's this need for social service to grow alongside of it, so it doesn't become a lagging indicator. So Meals on Wheels is a great example. For $9 a meal, we could continue to feed people. Anyone, I think, that sees this program could say, you know what, I can help with that. I can help make a donation, and I can restrict it just for that program. Our community is growing. Our community is so caring. You know, I had the honor to serve on the Las Vegas Victims Fund, and I was the vice chairman of that. And so I saw, when I walked that site and I met with the victims, I saw the humanity of this community that helped so many in an unprecedented way. And that's why I'm so proud to call this home, because I've been able to show my kids what it's like to live in a community that cares. If we can continue to be thoughtful about resources for the seniors, keeping them out of homelessness, frankly, and then people that are homeless, if we can get them transitional housing with mental and behavioral health resources and build some of those facilities in the next 3 to 5 years, which I don't think it's unreasonable, that I could probably do one a year. If I had the funding, about $25 million a year for one project, I could build those clinics and have a group like United Healthcare or the county with the operating conditions for the clinics. Now you have a market that you have an organization like ours with the people trust, the clients trust. We build the infrastructure, we manage the case management every day. And then you have a medical provider. I'm not going to do it myself. I'm going to go to the experts. Right. Let them help with the medical school. That's a resource we didn't even have 5 years ago. Correct. So I believe the pieces that we need to help address this problem now are here. If we can continue to work to put them together and focus on the humanity component, I know we can continue to do better.
Well, and it needs to be on a timeline, and my hope is that we can convene again and get that timeline set up, because the reality is people, if they're in a home and they don't have a contact, those clinics will be the daily contact for all of those, no matter what level they're at. We need those clinics open, and if it's about $1 million a clinic, we need to be able to find the way to open those clinics in the right locations, because everything has connection with something else. I'm so sorry we're out of time here. Thank you at home for watching. Make sure never to miss an episode. You can just scan your QR code on your screen to subscribe to our newsletter. We'll see you next time for another episode of Hello Mayor. And just know how blessed you are that we have this wonderful Deacon Tom and Catholic Charities and all of our social service partners with us every day. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you.